G'day, and welcome to At Home with Anita Rosner. I just spent 3 spectacular weeks in my beloved Australia. I soaked up the sun, went on nature walks, enjoyed the ocean, spent time with friends and family, and met some new people. And among them is the spectacular Jasmine Reese. Jasmine asked me if I would make something Australian for the channel. Now, I've already made Anzac biscuits, and I've made lamingtons, and I'll put the link to those down in the description. So I said, well, what would be a traditional favorite in Australia? And surprisingly, it's chicken parmesan. Let's start with the sauce. You can certainly use sauce from a jar. I'm not going to tell on you, but we're going to make our own. We're not making a big pot because we don't need all that much. So I just have a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, a cup of diced onion, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, some salt and pepper, olive oil, and garlic. I'm using 3 roasted garlic cloves. When you roast garlic, it gets nice and sweet. If you're using raw garlic, just use 2. So I'm going to dice these up, and then we'll move over to the stove and get it started. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is Australian about chicken parm? Well, it's actually about the way that it is served, which we will get to later. So just be patient. I've got a tablespoon of olive oil over medium heat in a medium skillet. And to that, we're going to add our garlic. And again, if you're using raw garlic, don't let it brown because that makes it bitter. Chefy tip. So then we're going to add our onions. We're just going to cook these down until they get soft and translucent. Go ahead and season with a pinch of salt and a little pepper. Now we'll reduce the heat to medium-low and add our tomatoes. Now stir in your seasoning. I'm going to put this on low, and we're just going to let this simmer while we address the chicken. Here I have 2 pounds of chicken cutlets. You want your chicken parm to be juicy, so you don't want these to be too thin, but they do have to be of a uniform thickness so that they cook evenly. That's where this comes in. So we're just going to persuade them into the same thickness. This also serves another purpose. You're tenderizing your chicken. Okay, now don't assault the cutlets. You just want to lightly flatten them so that they're the same thickness in the center as they are on the edges. Okay, these look good. The object of the game is that the center is the same thickness as the edges. Otherwise, what can happen is the center will be cooked and the edges will be dry, or the edges will be cooked and the center will be raw. This way, it cooks evenly. In this bowl, I have about 2 cups of plain breadcrumbs. So I'm going to add some garlic salt liberally, and some pepper. You can skip this step if you buy seasoned breadcrumbs, which I recommend, but I didn't have any, so there you go. And then in this bowl, we're going to beat 2 eggs. Now we will just dip each piece of chicken into the egg, and then the breadcrumbs. Make sure it's well coated. Shake off the excess, set it aside. Now that these are breaded and ready, we're going to go back over to the stove and cook them up. In the skillet, I have about a 1/4 inch of olive oil over medium heat. And we're just going to lay these in. Now, safety tip, when you're working with hot oil, you always place the food away from you so that if it splatters, you won't get burned. We're going to cook these about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. The chicken is done for that stage, and I've put it in an oven-safe baking dish coated with cooking spray. My oven is preheated at 425, which is 220 Celsius, 218, somewhere in that range. Now we're going to cover the cutlets with our sauce. Now we're going to generously add the Parmesan cheese. Don't be stingy with the parm. I'm putting about more than a 1/4 cup on each one of these. Now, if you're having this at a pub in Australia, you may find that they've snuck a little piece of ham between the chicken and the cheese. I'm not doing that, mate. And now each one gets some provolone on top. Now we're going to pop these in the oven for 15 minutes or until the internal temperature is 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 74 degrees Celsius, 74, 75. And the cheese is melted and bubbly. If the cheese starts to get too brown, just lay a piece of foil over the top and continue baking. So here it is in all its hot, bubbly glory. And I know what you're thinking, Anita, what makes this Australian is the way it's served. Let me show you. It's served on top of a salad with a side of fries. I said fries, chips. Which isn't too bizarre when you think that in the States, it's usually served with a side of pasta. So we're just trading out one starch for another. But according to Jazz, it's served usually more with like a wedge potato, a roasted potato wedge. I'm American, I made fries. Anyway, there you go. Aussie-style chicken parm. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Become a subscriber and leave a comment for me. I love to hear from you. Join me again here at home with Anita Rosner. Thanks for watching.